How do writers come up with book ideas? Or even chapters, for that matter? Isn't that the question most people ask themselves? What's up, writers? Welcome back to my channel. My name is Maua, and today I'm talking about the question, how do writers come up with their book ideas or chapter ideas? This is one of the questions I, as a writer, got asked a lot of time, and it has come as a complete surprise to me when I found out. I had no idea where my stories ideas came from. It was absolutely insane. And I can tell you this right now, a lot, if not almost every writer, have no idea where their book idea came from. If I'm going to talk about myself, I'm going to say I have no idea, just like as I said, but all I know is I woke up one day and decided, you know what, I'm going to write a book. Okay, so before that, I was a reader. I've been reading a lot of books, and you know what, I was like, you know what, it's nice reading stories, and how is it going to be like if I'm going to create my own story? And then that led to me waking up one day deciding that I'm going to write my own book. And the way my mind was working, I knew exactly what kind of genre my book was going to be. It was bound to be romance. Because of what I was thinking, because of the ideas that were coming in, I knew that it was going to be romance. And you know, it's weird the way it comes to you, yeah? For me, I remember the name, the first thing that actually came to me was the name of the book. Without knowing what it was going to be, without knowing the characters, without knowing nothing, it was the name. And I don't know why, but I had this given name coming to me. Given. Of course, that's not the name I went with when I actually got into the groove of everything, but that's what I named my book the very first moment. But then how did I start it? Okay, I got the name given, but then how did I start my first chapter? I had no idea how, because okay, some people, some writers, they've gone to schools, they've learned how to write and, you know, how to come up with stuff. I never done any of that. All I did was to read some books. I've been reading since 2014, I think. So when I decided to start my own, I had no idea where to start. But I remember the first thing after the name given, I remember I came up with dialogue of two people, a boy and a girl. I didn't know their names, I didn't know how they looked, they just had a dialogue. If you watched one of my videos, I think I have a videos how to take care of writer's block. I talked about this. You can do it by starting with a dialogue. That's what I did. My first time ever writing a book, I had a boy and a girl. I have no idea how they looked, but they were speaking. And from the looks of it, it looked like this girl was so in love with this guy, but the guy was not interested in it. Of course, now I have no idea where those sentences went, but those were my first ever sentence to draft. Somewhere along the way, I deleted them because from that came the whole book. It was my first and it was really bad, but it got me the book that I have today. So my whole book was born from that conversation of two people. So if you ask me, why exactly was that dialogue like that? Why was the girl confessing to a guy who had no interest? I have no idea. I just came with a conversation. And what better ways to start a conversation than two people who are trying, someone who's trying to get to another person, but another person is a bit, I don't know, you know. So from there I was like, I love you and I can't stay without you. And the boy was like, no, I thought this was just friendship because I love someone else and all that. And then the idea came from there. The whole chapter and then book came from that conversation. So if you ask that kind of question, I will tell you writers get ideas from all kinds of things. Once I actually started writing my first chapter, which again I had no idea how it's gonna turn out, that first idea was forgotten, and the more I wrote, the more things came to me, the more I just run with the flow. Just write, run with the flow, then later you're gonna come back and, you know, just edit, take out, put in until you get something that you like. So with me, there was no planning, there was no points written, there was nothing. It was just me and my crazy thoughts deciding to write them down. But then once I actually got into the groove of writing, still a newbie of course, I can't say I was Shakespeare at the moment I started writing. But after I got into the groove of writing, I started putting down points. I started putting down points on what I wanted to happen to this book. For example, I would just write down points like point number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4. However, any idea that comes to me, I just write down in the points. For example, the points were like this. Point number 1, first kiss. Point number 2, introduce her best friend. Point number 3, betrayal. Point number 4, nightclub. So whatever was coming to me, I was just putting them down into dots. Point number 1, point number 2. I had no idea what's gonna happen, but it's just I knew that I want to have a nightclub scene, I want to have a best friend scene, I want to have a betrayal scene, I want to have whatever it is I was thinking I want to have, I was just putting it down, and then I was building the whole chapter out of that point. For example, it's a nightclub. I will create these scenes, things that happen that takes my character into being into that particular club. So that's how the entire chapter was created. That's how finally the whole book was created. But that was just me. Other writers of course do it differently, and I have put it down some points in which other writers might get their ideas from. A friend's story inspiration. Let's say they were talking to a friend told them a story about themselves or about anything about themselves, and the writer gets idea for their next book. Everyday activities. Chat with a friend, walk in a park. This one is actually even more common, is reading their favorite book. Throughout reading their favorite book, one chapter or one particular sentence could create an entire idea of a new book. Or watching a movie is also another thing writers get their ideas from. You can watch a movie and in one particular scene or one particular dialogue or one particular anything can make a writer get an idea for their book. Your mind just have to be constantly creating these ideas. Whatever you see, your mind tries to create the story out of that. So it can be a sentence, I want you. That's just a simple sentence, I want you. But an entire book idea can come from that. Why does this person want this other person? What happened that made him want to want this person or want her to want this person? So you create the story around leading to that I want you sentence. Another thing that writers get ideas from is dreams. I myself have never got an idea from a dream, but a lot of writers' books started as a dream they had. When they woke up, they wrote it down, and an entire book came from that dream. Another thing is nightmares. Nightmares is where the horror books, the supernatural, that's where the ideas are coming from. Okay, you can get ideas from billions of things out there. Anything for a writer can make them have an idea for a book. But idea is one thing. Your inner writer has to step up and create words for you. You have to think about words. You have to think what your characters want to do. You want to think what your characters want to talk about. You want to think about their personality. You want your inner writer to come up with everything else and turn those everything else into pages after pages and then an entire book. For me, what I do, I usually just play with my characters. So yeah, I usually play with words, play with characters, play with emotions. They usually surprise me with what they do next. It's absolutely amazing when your characters surprise you. I'm a pantser, so I usually find out what's going to happen next as I write, and I'm usually very excited to find out what's happening. So if you want to be a writer, if you're thinking how you can come up with ideas, anything can create ideas for you. Maybe a dream, maybe a nightmare, maybe your friend, maybe your school, whatever it is, just create words and a whole new world around it. Alright, I hope I was able to answer that question for you guys, because today it was just a conversation and I told you my whole story, and I hope that can make your inner writer come out and write. Thank you guys for watching. If you like this video, please don't forget to thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. If you have any question, drop them down in the comments below. I will be sure to answer them, and thank you guys for watching. Bye.